the end of an era. The nation's first and only female House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, is stepping down from a leadership position within the Democratic Party.
Pelosi made an enormous impact in her historic run, and it remains to be seen who will take over. Joining us now to talk more about that and the shakeups in Washington now that the GOP has won the House, our political analysts Wendy Patrick and Laura Fink. Ladies, thank you for joining us right here on the floor. Good to be here.
Thank you.
All right, Wendy, let's just jump right in. Let's talk about the Republican Party first. How do they view her stepping down and what happens next?
You know, it depends on who you ask, because I have to say one of the things that you can imagine everybody agrees on is what a career.
Yeah.
You know, politics aside, she brought both energy and engagement. Now, not everybody engaged with her favorably, but she was in the game. She's 82 years old.
Yeah.
So you think about the institutional knowledge, the enthusiasm, the late nights, the early mornings.
Right.
You know, I think right now, regardless of what you may see on Twitter, they're probably reflecting upon a terrific career.
Yeah, Laura, same thing. Thoughts on that?
Wendy's right. And if you don't believe me, believe Newt Gingrich, her opposition, who called her the strongest speaker in history. This is someone who expanded health care to more than 40 million Americans. She cracked that marble ceiling, doubled the number of women in the House, and passed massive legislation under both Republican and Democratic presidents. Remember trade under Trump, and who could forget bipartisan infrastructure under President Biden. This is a woman whose legacy is long and who will be remembered by history as one of the most effective speakers in the American rule book.
Now, the Republicans, with this very slim majority in the House, how do you see that shaping up some of the next couple of steps here in Washington as far as the policy?
Well, Kevin McCarthy may want to go over to knock on Nancy Pelosi's door since she's staying in Congress, because she knows how to govern a very small majority, and he's going to have to do that with a very divided caucus. Very different opinions on how the government should be run within Kevin McCarthy's fold. So he has his work cut out for him. It will be a challenge, and we will see what he does.
Do we assume, Wendy, that he will be the speaker? He was named majority leader. Will he get the speaker's gavel?
It seems to be true, but it's also true that he could take a lesson from just the dynamics of governing with the slim majority. So he actually has more in common with Speaker Pelosi than he probably recognizes. And that's no doubt going to be something that they're going to talk about. You know, we tend to see the divisiveness, if you want to call it that. But, you know, they really get along on so many other points. There's really a lot to be learned from each other. And you saw that reflected in the fact that you had people like Steve Scalise that were present for her speech. By the way, her speech was bipartisan. And that was one of the things that I think everybody is noticing right now. It wasn't really vilifying anybody in the Republican Party. It really had a lot of bipartisan ideals, from the Capitol as the, you know, as the building and what it represents. It's hard to disagree with some of the content, regardless of the politics behind it.
But then the first sound bites we're getting out of the House, out of many different parts of the House, are we're going to investigate. We're going to investigate Hunter Biden. We're going to investigate Joe Biden. We're going to investigate everybody. Do these elections, these midterms, does that say to you that that's going to be a successful message for the GOP in the House?
Well, they asked the same question when the Democrats opened some of their investigations. So it's the same question: is do Americans care more about Hunter Biden's laptop or what the price of a turkey is going to cost next week for Thanksgiving? So that's part of what we're going to have to wait and see, whether or not that's a successful avenue. And if it's not, you know, you might see the Republicans pull back or do something else with their time.
Laura, I'm going to give you sort of the last thought here, especially on that last question that was just asked. Is this the right step for the GOP, in your opinion, as far as launching some of these investigations a week and 2 days after Election Day?
Context is everything, Heather, and I think that the voters rejected the divisiveness. The voters rejected the chaos. And so the question is, can Kevin McCarthy pursue that path and still take care of those kitchen table issues? And how will voters perceive that? If the caucus gets divided, if the chaos is created, I think that, you know, voters sort of had their say. I think he's got his work cut out for him with that slim majority and with an opposition party holding the Senate and the White House.
So many mixed messages. Republicans won the popular vote. Dems managed to win the Senate despite that, something we haven't seen since '94. It's been an interesting time for sure. Thank you for your expertise in joining us, ladies.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch over the next 2 years. It's sure to be a bumpy ride.
That's right. That's for sure.